UC rankings demonstrate that getting into one of these legendary institutions is not easy. On par with Ivy League colleges, UC schools are some of the most renowned educational institutions in the world. In this video, I'll provide you with a list of UC rankings and tips that will help you choose the right school, as well as increase your chances of acceptance. Hi, my name is Joseph Kafka, and I'm an admissions associate here at BeMo. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe on whatever social media channel you're watching this from now so you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. If you would like us to help you get into medical school, click on the link either above or below this video to schedule your free initial consultation. And as a quick tip, check out the timestamps in the description of this video to navigate the specific sections of the video that you're interested in. Here's everything we're going to cover on UC rankings. About UC rankings. UC rankings. How to choose the right UC school. Application process and tips for how to get accepted. Application timeline. Whether you are a California native or you're someone who is simply impressed by the caliber of the university education available in the state, the University of California school system presents an attractive array of top-rated undergraduate school programs with competitive admissions criteria. The University of California school system was first established in 1869 and is now one of the largest school systems in the US. Encompassing 10 separate campuses, the University of California includes some of the highest ranked universities in the world, including UC Berkeley, UCLA, and UC San Francisco. The system offers over 800 degree programs and is home to over 280,000 students and roughly 230,000 faculty and staff. With an emphasis on pioneering research and innovation, the UC school system boasts a dedication to excellence that includes the legacy of 64 Nobel laureates and a commitment to social justice, with over a third of its student population being from low-income families. With its competitive programs, the UC school system allows students to enjoy the benefits of a first-rate education while living within the scenic bounds of the state of California. Before I discuss how you can apply and increase your chances of acceptance to UC schools, you can head over to our blog and view our regularly updated UC rankings table with helpful information such as their overall acceptance rate and GPA. This table will be an invaluable resource as you choose the right school for you. Now, let's go over some important considerations you must keep in mind before applying. Let's start with good news. You can apply to all 9 UC schools with just one application. This unified process significantly decreases stress often associated with filing multiple applications. While you may not get into your top choice school, submitting an application to all available schools will increase your acceptance chances. Remember, even if you don't get into your dream school, all UC institutions provide quality education. The UC system is one of the largest and most renowned public university systems in the world. As publicly funded educational institutions, UC schools aim to protect the educational needs of their taxpayers, Californians. This is why in-state applicants tend to be favored. In fact, almost 90% of UC matriculants are California residents. To qualify as a California resident, you must meet one of the following criteria. You have attended high school in California for at least 3 years during grades K to 12, and will graduate or have graduated from a California high school. You have lived in California for the last 12 months. You are under 18 and your parent or legal guardian lives in California. Your parent, legal guardian, spouse, or registered domestic partner is an employee of the University of California or a UC affiliate national laboratory. If any of these apply to you, you'll be considered a California resident for the purpose of admission. If you do not qualify as an in-state applicant, do not panic. All 9 UC schools offer admission to out-of-state students. While the admissions criteria are slightly different, the application process is the same. We will be going over the details for admissions for both in-state and out-of-state applicants later in this video. As you are looking to find the right UC school for you, remember that admissions committees are often introduced to students through their statistics, such as GPA and test scores. Refer to our UC rankings table to see what GPA thresholds you should aim for to be a competitive applicant for each school. UC schools get thousands of applicants each year, so while your statistics are not everything, they are often used to weed out applicants in the early stages of the selection process to alleviate the sheer number of applicants that come in. Your academic aptitude will also be demonstrated in other application components, so grades are certainly not everything. But to be on the safe side, aim to apply to schools where your GPA meets the expected range. It's also important to remember that while you'll be assessed by the schools, you should also evaluate them before you apply. This includes researching the school's missions, values, campus life, academic and non-academic clubs, and so on. You'll be spending 4 years of your life on this campus, so make sure to find the right fit for you. Your research into the schools will also give you hints on what you can highlight in your application components like activities and awards and personal insight. In addition to your academic background, UC schools will also want to investigate your non-academic commitments. So knowing what your schools of choice value in their applicants can help you emphasize the most suitable experiences and skills. The tuition for in-state and out-of-state applicants differs significantly. California residents pay much lower tuition and fees for their undergraduate education, while all other costs remain equal. As I already mentioned, this is due to subsidies provided by the government to partially cover tuition costs for in-state students. And while it's important to consider your academic background and professional aspirations when you are choosing the program you want to attend, costs cannot be overlooked. California public schools have some of the cheapest tuition for in-state applicants, but attending a UC school for 4 years is not cheap for students from either category. It will be helpful to review the table of expense estimates on our blog and familiarize yourself with what to expect. As I already mentioned, there are some slight discrepancies between application requirements for residents and non-residents of California. Let's review what you need to know to prepare and submit a successful UC application. To start, you need to know what kind of educational background you must have to qualify as a UC applicant. You must complete 15 year-long high school courses and earn at least a C, preferably better, in each course, with at least 11 of these courses completed before your last year of high school. It is possible to meet this requirement by completing college courses, earning certain scores on subject SATs, or completing advanced placement or international baccalaureate exams. Check out our blog for a regularly updated breakdown of the subjects and UC approved courses you are expected to complete before matriculation, such as history, English, mathematics, science, languages, visual and performing arts, and college preparatory elective. It's important to note that if you are a California resident, you can check out if the courses you plan to take or have already taken are approved by UC. But as you'll notice in our subject table, none of the subjects have specifically approved courses. This is done on purpose, as giving general guidelines for courses is helpful to both in-state and out-of-state applicants. Since there is no list of pre-approved courses for schools outside of California, these guidelines will help you carefully choose your courses and plan your academic schedule as you prepare to apply to UC schools. GPA requirements for in-state and out-of-state applicants are significantly different. As a California resident, you must have at least a 3.0 GPA to apply. As a non-resident, you must earn a GPA of 3.4 at least to be considered. Keep in mind that these are the minimum GPA requirements to be considered. You should check the average GPAs in our table to see if you're a competitive applicant for the schools to which you're applying. The SAT and ACT are no longer required of applicants to UC schools. In recent years, all 9 schools in the UC system have dropped this requirement. So SAT and ACT scores will not be considered in the applicant selection process. However, if you choose to submit these scores, they may be used as a method of completing one or several of the required courses. To begin your application, you'll create an account using your personal email that you can check regularly. As with any college application, you'll be able to identify the term you are applying for and your applicant level, for instance, freshman, transfer, and so forth. Now let's go over each section of the UC application. Your application begins with a section titled About You, where you will fill out several pages of information about you and your family. You'll then need to select which of the UC campuses and majors you're applying to. If you have not settled on a major, you can choose undecided or undeclared. After that, you'll need to enter your academic history, but don't do this from memory. You must enter accurate information about all your schools, courses, and grades as they appear on your official transcript. The next section is test scores. Although all 9 of the UC schools have stopped considering exam scores as part of the applicant review, check with your programs of choice as they could be beneficial for your application. These scores can have a positive effect on your application, but they will not be used to compare you with other applicants. The activities and awards section is next, and this is an important section. In this section, you will enter all the extracurricular activities and achievements outside of school you are most proud of. Unlike your statistics and course history, this section of the application allows the admissions committee to get to know your interests and commitments outside of academia. So it's important to carefully choose which experiences and activities you decide to highlight in this section. Whether you volunteered at the Humane Society or gave a persuasive speech at a high school colloquium, all activities will be entered into one of the following categories: award or honor, educational preparation programs, any programs that have enriched your academic experience or have helped you prepare for college, extracurricular activity, other coursework. These are courses that are not part of the UC admissions requirements. Work experience. Here's another quick tip. It is important to remember that quality always trumps quantity. You're allowed to provide up to 5 entries for each category. So don't simply list every single course you have taken in your high school career, or include a volunteer activity you have done once for an hour several years ago. While there's nothing wrong with dedicating 1 hour to a soup kitchen on Christmas Day every year, the activities you choose to include must demonstrate passion, personal development, and most importantly, commitment. It's best to include activities that you were involved in consistently for a prolonged period of time, ideally no less than once a week for half a year. If you have a high school resume or CV, it might be helpful to reference this document for the history of your activities and how long they lasted. As you can see in our UC rankings, all 9 of these schools are incredibly competitive. This means that you must be strategic in choosing the activities and experiences that emphasize your strengths and unique characteristics. Every entry will include the name of the organization you worked with or courses you took, the length of your involvement, hours you dedicated per week, as well as a description of your courses, programs, organizations, and your responsibilities. From these entries, the admissions committee will be able to see the extra steps you took to develop academic prowess and professional skills that would make you a great fit for UC. You'll have the space of 350 characters to describe each activity. One of the core values of all UC schools is diversity. And while diversity can be considered in its most commonly used sense, such as ethnicity, race, gender, sexuality, immigration status, and so forth, it is not limited by these traditional categories. Think of this application section as a chance to demonstrate what kind of experiences and skills you can bring to the incoming class. After the activities and awards sections is the scholarships and programs section. In this section, you are encouraged to select any and all scholarship categories that you are eligible for. The personal insight section is another important section. While UC schools do not require traditional college admissions essays, this section of the application is not unlike them. You'll be presented with 8 prompts with the ability to choose only 4 of them to respond to. Each response is limited to 350 words. Here are the 8 prompts. Describe an example of your leadership experience in which you have positively influenced others, helped resolve disputes, or contributed to group efforts over time. Every person has a creative side, and it can be expressed in many ways: problem solving, original and innovative thinking, and artistic, to name a few. Describe how you express your creative side. What would you say is your greatest talent or skill? How have you developed and demonstrated that talent over time? Describe how you have taken advantage of a significant educational opportunity or worked to overcome an educational barrier you have faced. Describe the most significant challenge you have faced and the steps you have taken to overcome this challenge. How has this challenge affected your academic achievement? Think about an academic subject that inspires you. Describe how you have furthered this interest inside or outside of the classroom. What have you done to make your school or your community a better place? Beyond what has already been shared in your application, what do you believe makes you stand out as a strong candidate for admissions to the University of California? College essays are intimidating, but believe us that these essays are truly not designed to trip you up. Instead, they are your chance to present yourself in a favorable light. The admissions committees want to learn more about you, including your skills, experiences, accomplishments, and challenges. This is the reason why your essays should be very personal and sincere. And even though the word limit is a challenge, your essays should follow the academic format that includes introduction, body, and conclusion. My number one advice for writing stellar essays is starting early. I cannot stress this enough. This section of the application will take more time and reflection than any other. Give yourself at least 6 weeks to brainstorm, draft, edit, and proofread your essays. Additionally, every one of your essays will probably require several drafts, so be prepared to edit and update your essays multiple times before they can be considered ready. And if possible, ask one of your teachers to proofread your essays and give you feedback. A fresh pair of professional eyes can never hurt. Most importantly, your essays should show rather than simply tell why you belong in UC. Use concrete examples to demonstrate the points you make in your essays. Instead of simply saying that you have leadership skills, explain in detail what kind of experiences and activities allowed you to develop them. Check out our blog, UC Rankings, for a really helpful example. This section of the application will also allow you to discuss anything you have not had a chance to bring up in the rest of your application. This may include discrepancies in your application or unusual circumstances in your academic background. You are almost done with your application. Review your application and make sure all the sections are complete. As you submit your application, you'll be asked to confirm your academic information and whether you would like to share it with scholarship agencies, counselors, and so forth. This is where you'll pay your application fees using either check, mail, or credit card. You'll pay $70 US to apply to one UC campus. If you apply to more than one campus, you'll pay $70 US for each additional campus selected. The application will calculate your application fee automatically. You can also apply for a fee waiver if you did not qualify for one while you are filling out the application. Once you apply, you will receive a confirmation to your email with your UC application ID number, which is used to access various student portals and the admission decisions. Visit our blog for a detailed and up-to-date application timeline for all UC schools. This wraps up our video for today. Check out our blog to learn more about UC rankings. I've included a link in the description of this video so you can find our resources easily. If you would like us to help you get into medical school, click on the link either above or below this video to schedule your free initial consultation. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, so please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. If you have any questions about UC rankings that I didn't cover in this video, let me know in the comment section and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching this video and see you next time.